Hey guys, today I wanted to make a video about installing a subwoofer, this thing, into a 350Z. And if we come around to the front of the car, you can kind of see that, just move this seat right here, that I already have the stereo taken out, and I can show you guys how I did that after I'm putting it back in, because while I'm putting it back in, it's pretty much the reverse of that. But the reason I'm leaving it out is so that I can test to make sure this remote wire right here works. Right there. And I also, I've noticed a lot on YouTube that people, when installing subwoofers, they don't show the entire thing. They don't show where you actually run the wires. And to me, that's one of the biggest things, because running wires through a car is not easy. So what I ended up doing was running my audio wires alongside my remote turn-on wire down this little thing right here. It's right next to the shifter, but it's to the side so it won't interrupt with my shifting, because I shift good. So it's running under that, and then down this thing under the center console up through here. And then what I did was run it through a little grommet, not grommet, a little hole in the subframe right here. And then through this little interior. And then you can see it coming out of the back right here. And you can also see where my power wire and ground is. Ground, I'd say, is the most simple. You just find a piece of the frame and then tap into that. But so for the power wire, there's this little grommet right behind the battery that you can easily cut a slit into. Kind of see it back there. You take this thing off. You can also take this off to make it easier. And then you basically just cut a hole, like a tiny hole into the grommet, right back there. And then you can put your wire through it. And I'm running an 8 gauge, so it's pretty thick, but not the thickest wire. And I found it relatively easy. So how I ran the power wire was I came through that grommet, you can see it back there, took this kick panel off, and took this trim piece off. I was a little worried about it, because some trim pieces, if you take them off, they have a tendency to break the plastic clips that are holding them together. But this one did not, and I also did the other side, and that one did also not break. Sorry, it's kind of early. So I also had to take this thing out to remove this panel back here. And it pretty much you just grab it and pull it and it comes out. So after I got those out of the way, I ran the power wire like underneath the carpet, close to the wall, and I ran it in line with the rear washer, the rear window washer line. Kind of just zip tied it together because it's pretty consistent, and I don't think the flow of liquid through the washer line is going to interrupt with the flow of electricity through the power line. And all these panels are pretty easy to take off. This one I had a little bit of trouble with. But first you want to pull it from the back. And then after you get it a little out in the back, you want to come down here and start working your way up, pulling outward so that you don't damage the clips when you take it out, so you can put it back in and you don't look ghetto. Just let me know if I need to go in more detail about the power wire, because I can also do that. So after I ran it under the cable, it just comes out of the underside of that panel right there and to where I need it in the back of the car. And if we come over here, we find Freddy Fazbear. And if I look under here, that's where I'm running my ground. I chose to put 2 screws in because it seems more secure. And if you could see, I Also made sure to strip the metal down to the bare metal, because there is some primer on that. And to make a good connection with ground, you really want to sand it down or shave it off with a flathead screwdriver. Alright, I'll now be cutting to get the center console out and go ahead and take the subwoofer out of the box. And when I come back to you, I should have everything pretty much in place. I'm going to test the stereo to make sure it works before I put everything back together, but I'll be back shortly. So before I install the subwoofer, I thought that I could have a good look, or you guys wanted to see what it looks like inside of the package. I think it comes with everything you need except for the audio wires themselves, pretty much. Just get that out of the way. There's a little bag for the remote gain and the RCAs, and a little audio wire, and the thing that you put into it to connect your positive and your negative and your remote turn on. So here is the subwoofer itself, and this thing is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. That's what she said. The subwoofer out of the box. This thing is pretty nice. It's got a lot of weight to it. It's good. Because that'll help keep it down so it doesn't thump everything around it, or it thump itself out of place. God, I can't believe I'm putting this 12-inch sub in my little sports car. It's going to be so cool. It's always a good idea when you get new audio equipment to make sure it comes with all the fuses. So, this is the sub. Rockford Fosgate powered sub, internal amplifier, 12 inches, 300 watts RMS. And when I come back, I'll be installing the sub and testing it out. Okay, after a brief intermission, or whatever, I guess for you it's not really an intermission, but for me it's been 10 minutes of just figuring out where to put this thing. And the place I've decided on is right here. See if you can see it right there. It's right under the shift. I mean, not the shift. That's not a shifter. That's a steering wheel. But I decided to put it right here so that it's facing the correct way, because over here there's not really, I don't know, I thought about putting it right here, but then it would be like sideways, kind of in the way of the seat if I tried to go forward or back, because I'm very short. So I decided right here. But to put it right there, I'll have to run the auxiliary underneath here, down through here. And I don't know if I need to show this part, running the auxiliary through here, because there's probably a crack somewhere over here that I can run it through from this side, most likely. That's pretty simple. It's like through there, under something, through here. And if I need to, I'll just end up drilling a tiny hole right here, which is a major sin, but I might do it, because I don't care. So, actually I do, I love this car. But now I'm having to take the center console back out so that I can run the other audio wire through here. I'm going to run it on this side, along this, and then have it running with the other audio wires and the remote turn on. So I just wanted to show how to take this thing off. There's two screws right here. There's usually screws there, but I've already removed them. And then there's also, let me just put it close up. There's a screw hole right here, and then on the other side there's another one. I think you can see that. Take all 4 screws out, and this thing just lifts up. But also don't forget to take off any things that are clipped to it, like this little wire right here for your hazard lights, You gotta take that off of this part right here, or else it'll break. And the hardest part of taking this thing off is trying to maneuver around the parking brake, because it gets stuck right here. And then also trying to unclip this thing, because it gets stuck. Because its purpose is to make people mad. See, it's making me mad. See how mad it's making me? No, I'm kidding. But, so to do that, there's a little slider on it. Okay, sorry. So, first you take this little clip out. I kind of damaged it, but I think I can fix that. Well, I just heard a plastic breaking noise. Okay, maybe I can glue that. So, and just like that, the connector's disconnected. Yeah, that sticker's there. This one's here also. Yeah, I'm weird. Okay. So after those are disconnected, you can now remove the center console, which I will do off camera because I can't do it with one hand. Okay, I'm back. Again, it's only been a second, or half a second for you. So I ended up running the audio wire where I said I would run it. But to get it to fit right there, I also had to make sure it wasn't pinching on this panel. And all you do right here is just pull this panel towards you, and it should come out of the clips, and that should give you enough room if you wanted to put your audio remote gain control right here. And if you can see, that's where the audio wire is coming out, right next to that, and the naked substance. So it's coming down here, running alongside the parking brake wire for the stereo. And then it comes over here, and then it goes across. And then it goes across, and I zip tied it with the rest of the wires that are also zip tied to this wiring harness right here, because it conveniently runs where I need it to go. So it's running over here. I also put it under the carpet. That was a little hard, but it's doable. Just feed it through and then catch it on the other side. So I ran it under here, under all these wires, away from all these moving parts, because you don't want to snag it on this and have it pulled back every time you rip the e-brake when you're making a sick drift, bro. So then I ran it under this carpet over here and under this bracket that holds the center console in place. And that's where we are now. And you can also see where my audio wires are going through this hole right here. And if we remove this panel, it should just snap right off. After we remove this panel, we could see where all my audio wire is going. I just have it sitting there in case I need to, you know, feed it through to get more or put it back to get less. I don't think it's going to bother anything, just freeballed in there. Alright, so now I'm just going to run this along these, through here, and up to, where am I going? Up through the hole up here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a hole up there that comes out up here, and I'll be right back after I run this wire through here and through there. Alright guys, I forgot to mention this, but when you're doing audio work on your car, it's always a good idea to disconnect the ground. In fact, it's a great idea. It's probably recommended by everybody. So we're going to disconnect this ground over here. And now we can come over here and this little bastard. And plug in our audio. I'm gonna need a new battery soon. This looks kind of bad. Maybe some new terminal connectors too. I don't know. It hasn't actually been that long since I've gotten the car, but I do plan on... Nope, looks like I do plan on getting new stuff for that. So I'm gonna connect this, and when I come back, I should be almost done. Okay, so I have that connected. If your connections look this brown and bad, it's a good idea to shave them off. And also, if you blow the corrosion, blow it away, because this stuff is really bad to inhale. It's literal dried battery acid. Okay, now over here, you can see that my fuse is right over here, and if that blows, I could just take the top off and replace it fairly easily. You want to have the fuse close to the battery. So I just finished up the audio system. I've got everything where it needs to be, except this and that part up there. It looks like someone broke into my car. But I just figured out all the audio settings, and I got the subwoofer put in. I had to slide it in through the back there, as you can see. It wasn't easy. It was almost like it wasn't going to fit. It is a little bit wedged, but the good news is the speaker part isn't what's wedged on the pillar. So now I have something holding the thing down, so I won't have to strap it. It's the pillar. And if you could see right here, I've got everything plugged in. It's pretty self-explanatory, really. The power wire and the ground and the remote turn-on. You strip off about 1 centimeter from the end of the wire, and you have a little bit of copper exposed at the end. And then you just put it in to the connector and screw it down with a little hex screw that should come with the speaker. And then you just pop that thing in, and it should work. Bad stereo. Okay. So the reason why I left this out until I was completely done and made sure the subwoofer worked is because you always want to double check your work after you get done doing something. And it's best to leave everything out until you have everything working and functional. And as we see, this the head unit turns on. The remote turn on turns the subwoofer on. That's why I left it like this, because I was testing it to make sure it works, and it does. So I'll be crimping that properly after this video. So now that everything's working, I wanted to show you guys a sample, but before I show you a sample, I wanted to show you a problem with the Kenwood 570HD. If you go to the setup icon, it looks like a wrench, and then go to Bluetooth settings, and then go to Tel setup. See right here, the default setting of this is front only, and that's no good, because we want to get that Bluetooth audio through the subwoofer, because what's the point of installing a subwoofer if you can't wirelessly play music from your phone onto it if you wanted to. And again, that's the Kenwood 570HD DNX570HD. I've also heard this problem is prevalent with a lot of Kenwood double DIN systems. So just in case, that might help you out if you're having that problem. Okay, so now we're going to go to HD radio. And fucking advertisement. And that station doesn't work. And that station also doesn't work. There's another advertisement. It's not rap music. Okay, none of my stations work. Fuck.
Food for just $5. Download the app.
God.
Fresh beef available in contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada, and participating Wendy's for a limited time. Are you stuck with a low credit score?
No, I'm not. Yeah, this'll work. Okay. So go ahead and turn this up to the middle. And I don't know, you can't really hear it, but it is working. It's working quite well, actually. So even if you're not getting any audio signal to your subwoofer, a good way, well, really the only way to tell if it's on is this blue little LED light. Right there. And that'll tell you whether you're getting power to the subwoofer or not, and I think I just broke my seatbelt harness. Oh God. Okay, well, I'm gonna get to work on putting this all back together. Hey guys, so I wasn't able to do it on camera because it was super hard, but I was able to get this whole thing back on and everything up here still works, which is really good because that would suck if it didn't work. But it was really hard, and when you're putting this thing back on, the top part just snaps in place. I did break a clip on this side, so it might be raised up a little more than usual because I didn't pull it back correctly. But I got it back on there, back in place. When you're putting this back on, you want to look back here to make sure none of your wires are getting snagged or pinched. I just got to put this piece back on and then everything will be hunky-dory. Alright guys, as you can see, I got this center console back on. It wasn't that hard. It was like earlier that I showed you, taking it off, just putting these clips back on, putting this back where it goes. Make sure you don't bend this ribbon cable like I just did. I hope it still works. So I put all the screws back in. I see the little wire right there. I tried to get out of the way, but it's not really too pinned down, so it should be okay. There's nothing really moving right there. Oh yeah, okay. As you can see, for the HVAC, actually I didn't talk about the HVAC, but it's a little control module for your AC and your fans and your heater and all that. Make sure you put this in place before you put this big thing in place, because it's going to be a lot easier to plug there's 3 connectors in the back of this thing, and you want to plug those in before you put this in place, because it's going to be really hard to plug it in where it is right now. And then it just plugs into the frame right there with screws, and then you have the screw to the right is what's holding this up. And then you also have, this is the cubby hole. If you lift this up, there's a little thing right here. You take that up, and then there's little doors right here, and you get a little flathead, and you fuck those up. And there's screws all the way in the back. See those? And since there is a place for the screws to fall if you mess up, make sure you have a screwdriver with a magnetic tip so that it holds the screw until you get it in place and screw it in. Alright, I think I'm pretty much done here. So, you grab this, it's got your AC controls. Yeah, this is a 2006 base 350Z, as you can see. So I have the 06 center console. I know some center consoles have something right here with a bolt that you have to take this off and get the bolt off, but it's pretty much the same thing. And I think that'll do it. Peace out, guys. Remember to stay beautiful.